Well, we're joined now by two MPs who've both experienced abuse, Liberal Democrat Luciana Berger and former Conservative Antoinette Sandbach, who's just announced that she's also joining the Liberal Democrats. This was last night, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
So you better tell us about that decision first. What brought that on?
Well, really, I think the Liberal Democrat Party reflects the values that I have, and it was quite clear that the Conservative Party moved away from me, and I want to stand on a platform that makes it very clear that I think Remain is the best outcome for this country.
So, in the midst of this, you've stood up, taken a position that's different from your party's position. Has that contributed to your experience of abuse? Absolutely.
And I think particularly newspaper headlines have contributed to it. There's a noticeable uptick when there have been headlines in various newspapers, which I've experienced abuse largely from the right, you know, the extreme right of British politics. And it's constant. It's absolutely constant every day. And you almost get used to it.
And that's the problem, isn't it, Luciana, that actually you become desensitised to it because there's so much of it, you kind of ignore the fact that it's out there and it's happening. But talk us through some of the experiences you've had and some of the sort of the abuse that you're getting.
Where to start? You know, unfortunately, the first thing to say is that the overwhelming number of people in this country who do not support this type of activity, and it's just a very vocal and vociferous and unpleasant minority that indulge and engage in this behaviour, and I think it's incumbent on us all to call it out. But, you know, I've seen everything from, you know, only last night walking through Westminster, having groups of men jeering and chanting at me, traitor, calling me by my surname, like shouting my surname, just really, really, really
intimidating.
And that was political, was it, because of the positions you've taken politically? Because you also, during your time in the Labour Party, you're now Liberal Democrat, long-time member of the Labour Party, Labour MP elected, it was also anti-Semitic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've had stuff from both the far left and the far right. I've had stuff directed at me because of the position and the campaigning I've done against Brexit, but also the fact that I'm Jewish, and I've had, you know, quite a lot of unfortunate anti-Semitic abuse, which continues to this day. 6
people, you've told us, have been convicted for the abuse that they've shown to you.
Yes.
Are any of them showing any sort of remorse? Do they appreciate how it resonates with you when they're saying these things?
I haven't had the opportunity to engage.
They haven't tried to contact you since and say, look, I didn't... to apologise, or...?
One person has.
And what did they say?
They just apologised for you know, the activities and what they had engaged in. But you know, that isn't the majority. And again, I think it's important that we take a stand. You know, we have laws in this country that hold people to account when they engage in race hate, when they engage in behaviour which extends death threats to people, and we need to call it out.
It's extraordinary. We actually have, Antoinette, a death threat that you were sent that we can read out. We have gone through it carefully. If you just bear with me, I'm going to read this out so our viewers can hear what you're facing. This is what the threat said. You deserve all you will get. Keep looking over your shoulders. Your family must be very proud of you by putting their future in jeopardy, by trying to stop Brexit. Make sure you and your Remain, and we blank that word, MPs, keep looking over your shoulders because, boom, bang, you are all dead. What's your reaction when something like that lands on your doormat or on your desk?
Well, I immediately report it to the police. I've had 6 people cautioned. 1 person has received a suspended prison sentence. And, you know, I just think it's not acceptable. No other workplace would tolerate this kind of abuse. And it seems particularly targeted at women MPs and those from ethnic minority backgrounds. And we have to take a stand on it. So I always report anything like that straight to the police, and I expect them to prosecute if they can.
MPs have been targeted by violence throughout history, haven't they? The time during the IRA, there have been terrible troubles. Is there something different about what we're seeing now? Is there something different about the atmosphere, do you think?
I think it's the fact that it happens pretty well every day, and that it's constant, and I think, you know, the level of threat seems to have increased. And as many other MPs have spoken about, you know, I cannot put out publicly where I'm going to be in advance. I can't advertise open surgeries. And, you know, that creates distance between me and my constituents. And, you know, I want to see my constituents, talk to them, tell them what I'm doing. And I can't put that information out in advance because of the threat. And I think, you know, that inherently disadvantages women MPs, and it shouldn't be like that.
No. And what has caused it, and how do we stop it?
Well, we've certainly seen an amplification and increase of it since the referendum. And we can't hide away from that. That's what's happened. We've seen an increase in the toxicity, and certainly the volume of stuff that, you know, I encounter both online and in person is at a level that I never experienced when I first came into Parliament in 2010. So, you know, it was definitely seeing it ramped up. You know, forgive me, you know, your question about, you know, what we should be doing about it is...
Yeah.
It's, you know, we need to address the imbalance in Parliament. We need to have a Parliament that better reflects our country.
Will you go out campaigning at night? Will you be put off doing that?
I won't campaign by myself at night, absolutely not. And in fact, I was knocking on doors last night and I made sure that I was with a group of people. And, you know, we also face an election now coming up to, you know, Christmas is, you know, the darkest depths of winter, so that doesn't help us all. And it's kind of very
also,
dark
groups of
night.
people approaching your door can be intimidating from if you're at home and you're on your own and there's a knock at the door and there's 2 or 3 people outside the front door. I mean, it goes both ways in terms of...
It does. I mean, we wouldn't have more than 2 of us on a doorstep.
Sure.
But, you know, it's certainly going to alter the way in which we campaign at this election.
Well, look, we really appreciate you both joining us this morning. I'm sorry we can't talk more about policy. Sorry, Antoinette, we can't talk more about, you know, your new party and what that's going to mean for you in the run-up to the election. Hopefully we'll get you back and we can share some of your thoughts on that and share some of our
maybe
viewers'
be
thoughts as
campaigning
well.
together. You
Definitely,
never know.
definitely,
There you go.
absolutely, yeah.
Good to have you both.
Okay, good to
Good to have you both with us this morning.